Hi everyone, welcome back to this final video on servers. Domain name services. Short for domain name system, a DNS is a service that receives a request containing a domain name, host name, and responds with the corresponding IP address. The first DNS was designed and implemented by Paul Mockapetris and John Postel in 1983. How does DNS work? When a user wants to visit Computer Hub, they can type https://www.computerhub.com into the address bar of their browser. Once that domain name is entered, it is looked up on a domain name system where it is translated into an IP address 216.58.216.164. Using that IP address, your computer can then locate the Computer Hub webpage and forward that information to your browser. File server. File server is a computer on a network that is used to provide users on a network with access to files. Email server. A remote or central computer that holds electronic mail email messages for clients on a network called a mail server. A mail server is similar to the post office where mail is stored and sorted before being sent to its final destination. When the user requests his or her email, contact is established with the mail server, which then delivers all stored to the client's computer. Computer or standalone device responsible for managing one or more prints on a network. Because of the load required for a print job, a print server does not need to be a fast computer. Proxy server. A proxy server is a computer server or program that's part of the gateway server or another computer that separates a local network from outside networks. A proxy server will cache all pages accessed to the network, allowing users who may want to visit that same page load it faster and reduce the network's bandwidth. When a web page is accessed that is not in the proxy server's cache, the proxy server accesses the web page using its own IP address. Then it caches that web page and forwards it to the user. Active Directory is a directory service developed by Microsoft for Windows domain networks. It is included in most Windows Server operating systems as a set of processes and services. Initially, Active Directory was only in charge of centralized domain management starting with Windows Server 2008. However, Active Directory became an umbrella title for a broad range of directory-based identity-related services. A server running Active Directory domain name service (ADDS) is called a domain controller. It authenticates and authorizes all users and computers in a Windows domain type network, assigning and enforcing security policies for all computers and installing or updating software. For example, when a user logs into a computer that is part of a Windows domain, Active Directory checks the submitted password and determines whether the user is a system administrator or normal user. It also allows management and storage of information, provides authentication and authorization. Mechanisms and establishes a framework to deploy other related services, certificate services, Active Directory Federation services, lightweight directory services, and rights management services. Active Directory uses Lightweight Directory Access Protocol (LDAP) versions 2 and 3, Microsoft's version of Kerberos and DNS. Web servers. Web servers are a remote computers and or computer programs that deliver web content like web pages, etc., to the end user over the internet upon request through a web browser. It comprises a computer and a server program. Every web server will have an Internet Protocol IP address and domain name true, which is identified over the internet. Many web servers run over high-speed internet connection. The basic function of a web server is to host websites and to deliver web content from its hosted websites over the internet. During the delivery of web pages, web servers follow a network protocol known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol (HTTP). Web hosting service providers use web servers to host multiple websites. Web servers need a continuous power supply and necessary cooling um, for them to function efficiently. Tower servers. Tower servers are ideal for when a rack isn't needed, typically a smaller installation or where generally only a single system is installed, such as small or home offices. There are few benefits of a tower server over a rack mount server. First, the noise levels. As tower servers are usually installed in a room occupied by people, then the systems are designed to be quiet and cool running. Secondly, tower systems don't have high a spec for intended uses, so don't need high-end components such as redundant power supplies or hot swappable drives. This keeps the cost down and is again a perfect fit for small or home offices. Tower servers are no slouch. Okay. Rack servers. A rack server, also called a rack-mounted server, is a computer dedicated to use a server and is designed to be installed in a framework called a rack. The rack contains mounting slots called bays, each designed to hold a hardware unit secured in place with screws. A rack server has a low profile enclosure in contrast to a tower server which is built into an upright standalone cabinet. A single rack can contain multiple servers stacked one above the other, consolidating network resources and minimizing the required floor space. The rack server configuration also simplifies cabling among network components. In an equipment rack filled with servers, a special cooling system is necessary to prevent excessive heat buildup that would otherwise occur when many power dissipating components are confined in a small space. A rack mount unit, abbreviated U or RU, is a unit of measure defined as 134 inches or 44.45 millimeters. It is most frequently used as a measurement overall height of 19-inch and 23-inch rack frames, as well as the height of equipment that mounts in these frames, whereby the height of the frame or equipment is expressed as multiples of rack units. For example, a full-size rack cage is 42 U high, while equipment is typically 1 U, 2 U, 3 U, or 4 U height. Definition. The rack unit size is based on the standard rack specification as identified in EIA 310. Citation needed. The Eurocard specifies a standard rack unit as the unit of height. It also defines a similar unit. Horizontal KT is used to measure the width of rack-mounted equipment. Standard was adopted worldwide as IEC 60297, Mechanical Structures for Electronic Equipment. Dimensions for mechanical structures of the 482.6 millimeters 19-inch series and defines the size of the rack sub-rack, a shelf-like chassis in which cards can be inserted, and pitch of printed circuit boards, cards providing physical compatibility of technological equipment, typically in telecommunications. While a rack unit is defined as 1 3/4 inches, 44.45 millimeters, a front panel or filler panel in a rack is not an exact multiple of this height. To allow space between adjacent rack-mounted components, a panel is 1.132 inch, 0.03125 or 0.794 millimeters less in height than the full number of rack units would imply. Thus, a 1U front panel would be 23 32 inch, 1.71875 inch, or 43.66 millimeter tall. If n is number of racks, the ideal formula for panel height is h equals 1.75 n minus 0.031 for calculations in inches, and h equals 44.45 n minus 0.794 for calculating in millimeters. Manufacturing allows for dimensions with less precision. The mounting hole distance differs for 19-inch racks and 23-inch racks. 19-inch racks use uneven spacing, while the 23-inch racks use evenly spaced mounting holes. Although it is called a 19-inch rack unit, the actual mounting dimensions of a 19-inch rack unit are 185/16 inches, 18.3125 in, or 465.1 millimeters wide center to center. Configurations. A typical full-size rack unit is 42, which means it holds just over 6 feet 180 centimeters of equipment, and a typical half-height rack is 18 and 22U, which is around 3 feet 91 centimeter height. Term half rack can have different separate meanings. It can describe equipment that fits in a certain number of rack units but occupy only half the width of a 19-inch rack, 9.5 inches, 241.30 millimeter. These are commonly used when a piece of equipment does not require full rack width but may require more than 1U of equipment height. For example, a 4U half rack DVCAM deck occupies 4U 7-inch height by 9.5 width, and in theory, two 4U half rack decks can be mounted side by side and occupy the 4U space. It can also describe a unit that is 1U high and half the depth of a 4-post rack, such as a network switch, router, KVM, or server. Such as 2 units can be mounted in a 1U space, one mounted at the front of the rack and one at the rear. When used to describe the rack enclosure itself, the term half rack typically means a rack enclosure that is half the height, 22U tall. Rack units are universally the same, but the type of thread can vary depending on the rack. Mounting rails can be numbered 10.30/32 unified thread standard, number 1224 tapped metric M6 threaded, or universal square holes. Universal square holes are becoming the most common as these allow for insertion of replaceable cage units. The type of thread needed This prevents, sorry now, this prevents stripping of the threading on the rails and allows for more flexibility. Blade servers. A blade server is a module server that allows multiple servers to be housed in a smaller area. These servers are physically thin and typically only have CPUs, memory, integrated network controllers, and sometimes storage drives built in. Any video cards or other components that are needed will be facilitated by the server's chassis, which is where the blades slide into. Blade servers are often seen in large data centers due to their ability to fit so many servers into one single rack and their ability to provide a high processing power. In most cases, large chassis such as HPE's blade system will be mounted into a server rack and then multiple blade servers slide into the chassis. The chassis can then provide the power, manage networking, and more. This allows each blade server to operate more efficiently and requires few internal components. Blade servers are generally used when there is a high computing requirement with some type of enterprise storage system, network attached storage (NAS) or storage area network (SAN). They maximize available space by providing the highest processor per RU availability. Blade servers also provide rapid serviceability by allowing components to be swapped out without taking the machine offline. You will be able to scale to a much higher processor density using the blade architecture. The facility will need to support a much higher thermal and electronic load per square foot. Benefits of a blade server. Power consumption. In many cases, the chassis of a blade server will supply power to multiple servers, reducing total consumption. Hot swappable. Blade servers can be configured to be hot swappable, so if one blade has a problem, it can be pulled and replaced much more easily. This helps to facilitate redundancy, less need for cables, rather than having to run individual cables for each server. Blade servers can have one or more, often fiber, run to the chassis, thus reducing total requirements. Processing power. Blade servers provide an extremely high processing power while taking up minimal space. So everyone, that's it for this video on servers. I hope you enjoyed it. So please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.